and let's move to therapy talk, because Rich is going to talk us with the ledge now for why John and I should not be as angry, upset, and still have hope and prosper for this young team that is the New York Jets.
I want to start at the top here, because we talked a lot about Leon Rose talking to the media. Joe Douglas talks to the media as much as we want. Our owner tweets fun videos. He teases uniform vids. He does stuff about Berrios.
It's like not even him.
Yeah, of course it's not. Of course it's not him. But you know what I'm saying? He's, the fans are happy on all those fronts. We have play-by-play from every single throw in practice. We have we ask the coach every single little thing. We have all the transparency in the world. However, Joe Douglas, I mean, I was screaming about it last pod because I had just come back from the game. I was so pissed off. It was a perfect time to do a recap. Like, who on earth did the physical for Dwayne Brown? Like, could I call him? Like, I want to have a conversation with him, because we signed him. He went to IR. George Fant, he's on IR. We kind of knew it was going to happen the whole time. Like, we cut Udoka for no reason. Like, now we have McDermott, dude. He is our starting left tackle, and we're here for scraps. Like, that was your fault. Going into the draft, we had an amazing draft. I'm not going to complain about it, but everybody keeps telling me that we love the linebackers. We love the linebackers more than the fans. Like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. We love our safeties more than the fans. You guys don't know what you're talking about. We have the best D-line in the world. Like, Hendrickson's going to suck. Carlos is amazing. Like, all he did was get injured, and he's an injury-prone guy. Corey Davis makes horrible mistakes. CJ Uzama. He's our highest paid tight end. I love the guy, but he's completely unproductive. Like, Tyler Conklin is way more productive than him. And I still like Rucker getting in there. I know he had that one target and he dropped it like a dummy, but I'm so excited about the prospect of Rucker. Like, talk me off this ledge, first of all, with his GM. I love Joe Douglas. I'm the number one Joe Douglas guy. But right now, I'm sitting here after week 3, like, really pissed off, because everything that we knew was going to happen has happened. Our left tackle stinks. We have 4 injuries now at our left tackle that we all knew was going to happen. We have no linebacker depth. I'm glad Quan Alexander's here, but what the hell? Our safeties suck. And that's only the things that we knew. Like, nothing there was a surprise. So talk me off this ledge about the GM, first of all, because you had some stuff to say about Leon, and the Jets are transparent. I don't like the transparency. Like, don't tell me.
Yeah. It's like the complete opposite. We get One Jets Drive episodes every week. We get behind the scenes of every single answer to every single question. But listen, man, I personally, I know there's a big talking point right now on Jets Twitter about the offensive tackle situation. I really cannot blame Douglas for this situation, because you got 3 players on injured reserve list. I mean, you're lucky if you have 2 good offensive tackles in this league, because not every team even has 1. So the fact that everyone's upset that, obviously we want Mekhi Becton healthy, he goes down. You get George Fant and you move him back to left tackle. You sign Dwayne Brown to replace Mekhi Becton, which was a really good move at the time. He's coming off a Pro Bowl season last year, was fully healthy, has a full bill of health throughout his entire career. Yes, he's up there in age at 37, so the injury risk is there, but you're desperate there. And the Jets are really trying to protect their quarterback in Zach Wilson. So they go out there and they invest, and Joe Douglas shows how much he values this offensive tackle position and pays Dwayne Brown to come to the Jets. And of course, he plays a couple preseason games. He's healthy throughout training camps, looking good. And all of a sudden, the week number 1, he has a shoulder injury. Like, you can't make that stuff up. And then he goes on IR. And now George Fant is not himself, and he cannot block anybody. And you were realizing it's because his left knee is injured. And when your left knee is injured and your left tackle, that's your plant leg, you're not going to be able to do anything. And he had procedure over the offseason on that knee, and it's just simply just not healing properly. So the Jets have an issue right here at the offensive tackle spot, and they just signed 2 guys, and they're really desperate. But I do have to give Douglas credit for Max Mitchell, because Max Mitchell is a 4th-round rookie. And he's playing better than Mikem Ekwonu. He's playing better than Evan Neal, 2 offensive tackles that Jets fans were thinking about drafting at the beginning of this, of the whole draft talk. So The fact is, Douglas can only do so much for this offensive tackle position. The fact that there's 3 guys on injured reserve, I mean, you can't really point fingers at him. Obviously, we want more depth there. I wish that maybe they signed a veteran tackle earlier on to prevent what they're at right now. But there's a lot of other holes in this team that needs to be filled outside of offensive tackle. Safety and linebacker, we all knew throughout the entire offseason that's a big weakness. We all knew tight end was a weakness until they revamped that room. And the unfortunate reality is, guys, is this Jets team has so many holes that Joe Douglas has to fill when he came here, and he can't fix it all in a couple off seasons. I feel like this off season, and I know you guys want to hear this because we have a full season to go through, it's going to be all about the safety room and the linebacker room, at least I hope, because this past year he focused on protection. He focused on, playmakers. I feel like Joe Douglas is really prioritizing the playmakers, both weapons for Zach Wilson and playmakers on defense with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. So I feel like Joe Douglas, he can't fix every single position group. Obviously, he brings in Whitehead. He's not looking that good at safety. He brings in Quan Alexander, which is a big piece that I feel like is very underrated. Unfortunately, Quincy Williams goes down. But the linebackers and safeties we knew was a big weakness, and they're definitely proving it. I feel like the linebackers are not playing as bad as as some people think. But the past couple of weeks has definitely not been good. CJ Mosley is the captain of the defense. And if you're that leader that you say you are with all these rah-rah speeches in the beginning of games, and you look like the guy that's going to be the reason why this team turns around for the future, and your defense goes out there and you're the captain and there's miscommunications and stuff, it falls on your shoulders and CJ. So he has to clean up a lot of things. But just to put a bow on the top about the Joe Douglas question, man, I just feel like it's hard to really point fingers at him at this offensive tackle spot. And he's done his job with personnel, because I think the reason why Jets fans like Alex said that he's so excited about this young team, because guess what? There's a reason to be excited, because we're talented on paper. Now it's time for the coaching staff to prove their worth, because we're talented on paper. There's no doubt that we have everything we need to win some football games. Now it's up to this coaching staff to use this talent properly and win games, because guess what, guys? Talent does not win football games. Coaching, execution, playing as one does. And I feel like that's the biggest issue so far with the Jets, with this inexperienced coaching staff. And I'm hoping that they can get their shit together, because, the seat's going to start getting hot.
Quick,
sure.
Dude, the next 5 games, bro. Next 5 games, you better hurry up and get it together. And, I totally agree with you on the draft room. Joe Douglas, one of the best drafters in the NFL. I am honestly obsessed with the Jets drafting. I love the NFL draft, and I love what they have done. But it's really the free agency, man. He is batting under 100 almost at this point. Maybe batting literally 100 with the free agency signings. So I'm a huge Joe Douglas fan, but I'm gonna give him slack for the free agency signings. I mean, what's the center? Alex, I always like to bring up, was that Kalo?
For
Ryan Khalil.
Yeah, Ryan Khalil for $8 million.
Yeah.
That was his first signing ever, right? That was Joe Douglas's first signing ever.
Yeah, because he got signed in after the draft, after free agency, so
Yep.
he had no other options.
Yeah, I mean,
signs I got off the street.
Starting from then, I mean, honestly, Alex was on his tail from then, and the free agency signings has been pretty bad. Besides, I'll be honest with you, Quan Alexander,
Ryan Griffin.
Ryan Griffin too.
You're missing a big free agent signing. That
I don't want to talk about.
Not.
DJ Reed, of course. DJ Reed.
Yeah, DJ Reed's been fire.
DJ Reed has been huge.
And he's stepping up as a leader
huge.
too. I love his ability.
Yeah.
Like talking about D Rose and accountability with the Knicks.
Yes,
we need accountability with this Jets team, and I feel like we're lacking it. And DJ Reed is bringing that to the table, because he's been in winning organizations with Seattle and San Francisco. He knows when something's wrong. And as a Jets fan, hopeful that, okay, the issue is there's 4 new guys in the secondary, and they need to learn each other's communication skills, I guess, before they can really be on the same page. And hopefully, like Salah says, that will fix itself out as time progresses. But we're sitting here in week 3, have no idea if that's actually going to happen or not.
I think that's a great comp, by the way. D Rose for DJ. That's a fantastic comp.
Yeah, but DJ Reed's younger, right?
Yeah,
he's younger.
That was prime.
Yeah, he's younger, but it's still like, it's just you've experienced winning. You understand like what it takes to get to the top. And Derrick Rose has been there. I mean, he's been in playoff games. So.
And he makes Ahmad Gardner better, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
He really he's making Sauce better. And Sauce has been his own island these first couple games.
Love it.
So good. Shutting down Jamar Chase. And DJ Reed also has been in this system throughout his entire career. And he's been in this system where it works, where the communication is good. And communication is key in the secondary, and he's been around. So he's very frustrated that the communication's not there because this team's too talented to the point where when that communication starts to click, then we're going to see this defense shine. And I really genuinely believe that. And it does start up front because the front seven is not getting to the quarterback as much as we want, because that's the whole pinnacle of this entire solid defense.
Yeah. So where are your thoughts on the deep? Well, I guess we already know how we feel about the defense, but what's your whole feeling on this coaching staff so far? Because, this past episode that we did for the rapid reaction, Greg thinks that Salah's on the hot seat. Where do you think Salah's on the hot seat? One, and two, what do you think about the just overall coaching aspect right now?
Because there was some stubbornness, right? There was some Cincinnati sucks against the cover two, but we didn't play cover two because that's just not what we run. Like, okay. Like, do you think that has anything to do with this, whole Salah hot seat? Ulbrich obviously getting questions today.
Listen, I feel like the seat is hot when you get hired as a Jets head coach. Like it really
the
fair.
Second you're in the rumors,
fair.
I'm a Jets coach.
No, seriously, there's no room for error when you're the New York Jets head coach, because we have a fan base that has grown accustomed to just negative stuff and losing, and we've grown tired of it. And we've seen Gase, we've seen Bowles, we've seen all these guys. So when we have that feeling of something going wrong, we get our teeth out. We want to, bring our fangs out and attach to it that this is a negative thing. We want Salah gone. My biggest thing is, and I don't know if Salah is the guy yet. He has not proved me to the point where I can say with confidence that I believe that Robert Salah is the answer as the New York Jets head coach. But the one thing I will say is we are never going to build a sustainable winner with this team if we continuously have a carousel of head coaches every 2 years. You got to give time. And the biggest thing I have about Robert Salah and Joe Douglas' tenure together is their whole mantra has been that this team is not bought, it's built. And that's refreshing because guess what? That's how you build franchises properly. But the problem with that is it takes time. You got to be able to have these young players develop in order to see the full potential of this team. So that's why I'm giving Robert Salah in this regime 3 years. Unless something just catastrophic happens this season, whether it is win 4 games again and the defense is last, then maybe that's a different conversation. But I feel like the Jets need to give this regime at least 3 years, because we can see what they can do with Zach Wilson for 3 years. He needs continuity. The last thing he needs is another coaching change. The last thing this defense needs is another whole coaching change. I know the other answer to that could be like, yeah, well, if he sucks and you just want to roll, you're just wasting another season, you want to get it now. But I just feel like we need continuity here. And I hate to compare the Jets to this team because they're our rivals and they're so good. But like the Buffalo Bills did it perfectly by Josh Allen, by having a familiar face, they were not good at first with Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott is a great coach because he's been with the Bills for 5-6 years now. And Josh Allen as a rookie was not good. Josh Allen in year number 2 was not good. And the Bills as a team was struggling. And what made Josh Allen, and not only Josh Allen, but that defense so good, is continuity. You got all those guys in the secondary that's been in the same system, the same coaches, the same faces for 5 years now straight. And now they are going to go to the Super Bowl potentially. I know they're coming off a tough loss and they're banged up, all that stuff. But my point is, you got to give this coaching staff time with these players that they're drafting to develop them. And it sucks because we're Jets fans and we were sick of losing and we want to win right now. Like, what are you talking about? I got no patience. And I hear all that. But the unfortunate reality is this Jets team is never going to have sustainable success if we continuously fire up a regime before it even has a chance to see the full potential, because we are drafting players. That draft class in Salah's first year with Zach and Elijah Moore and Michael Carter, they're in year 2 right now. I love that. You got to give them at least year 3 with that class before we can really see the full potential of this regime. But I will finish it off with this, because we're in this season. Salah's got to get his shit together. He talked about the receipts, which I love because he's backing up his players. I know that it kind of feels like it's a shot at the media and the fans, which I didn't really take it that way. I kind of took it as like he's got his team's back and he's instilling confidence in his guys. And he needs to be holding his players accountable. That's my biggest gripe with Salah so far. That's my biggest criticism. It feels like he's becoming too much of a player's coach, and he's not really that like the players aren't fearful of him. And I feel like we need a head coach that sparks fear in our guys sometimes, and that kind of like, avoids them to make mistakes. So that's my biggest criticism with Robert Salah and my overall take on the coaching staff. All
right. I mean, I that's why I keep saying like that we're still in a rebuilding phase with this team. Because you pointed out, Richie, like especially with the Bills and how long it took for them just to be where they are. And for football, it just takes talk about a team that's not bought. We've been doing that. We've been watching that for a very long time. If you've been a Jets fan, we love to go spending in free agency, especially during the Tannenbaum era. Even during Idzik, we were trying to spend too, whatever. Even though it was frugal, you tried to go out and get some certain players, and it felt like the same way with McCagnon. It's really McCagnon. McCagnon was ready to open up the pocketbook and just go get everybody. The Tremaine Johnson contract still haunts me to this day. But I feel you on that, on giving this team more time. Do you think this team, what was your if you're from right now, where do you see this team going towards the end of the season? Like what's the win expectation? 7? Was it 7 wins you got for this team?
Well, this year we haven't seen the full potential of this team yet because we haven't seen Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson is like the most important piece on this entire team because we don't know if he's anything. And we all know that we've been looking for a quarterback for our entire lives as Jets fans. So this is the guy. And if Zach Wilson comes out here and he plays like the second overall pick, then we're all going to be cheering. And that's really the most important piece here. I know there's a lot of other things to work on around the team, but I feel like what I want to see from this Jets team is definitely a win total around 7. Also being competitive in November and competitive in December and in games where we're not looking at the draft. I do not want to do one mock draft on my channel in December. If I hear one person ask me about it, I'm just not going to do it simply because it just frustrates me that we're continuously looking ahead for the draft and not focusing on the season. That
December would be a win. December would be a win, bro. It's usually by now.
Yeah, that's true. Like, give us November, competitive football in Thanksgiving at that point. But the reality is Zach Wilson's coming back, and Joe Flacco, he hasn't been great, but he's shown. I mean, he's top 5 in the league in passing yards. He's shown that this system works, and there's playmakers. And we do have an issue at left tackle, but we got playmakers, and the scheme works. And Zach Wilson got a chance to step back and watch Joe Flacco. He can watch the film, what went wrong, what went right. And Zach Wilson has a chance to really elevate guys around him. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference with this team. Is Zach Wilson a guy that not only can play good football, but can he be a guy to elevate players, elevate Elijah Moore, elevate Conklin to another level? Like, that's what great quarterbacks do. And we drafted him with the 2nd overall pick. There's no more babying Zach Wilson. It might be a little rough. It might be a little rust at first for this first couple of weeks against the Steelers and the Dolphins, but the baby wheels are off. You're in year number 2. You got to make strides. I'm not asking for a Herbert leap where you're like top in the league right now. That's year 3. I'm expecting him to take a jump in the right direction. Well, where Jets fans have a smile on our face about Zach and not like frowning like, shit, here we go again.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like we stole the win with Flacco, right? Versus the Browns. The New York Jets have been winning for a total of 22 seconds in the NFL. We're going into week 4. Right, so there's definitely that. We talked a lot about the defense. You mentioned really quick that Flacco's leading this, the league in pass attempts. Okay, or passing yards. Here's I actually have an issue with this. Like, I actually have a real gripe with this.
Passing too much, not running the ball.
Like, with Joe Flacco, dude. Like, you know what you have. You know more than us. That's what everybody keeps telling me. We see it in practice every day. This guy doesn't give a damn about the pass rush. He has a 4-step drop in his head, and he's launching. He does not give a damn. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not. He does not care. And if he feels pressure, he's just going to toss it 8 yards over the sideline, or maybe drop it. If he feels somebody behind you, he might throw it, 2 yards short. He doesn't care because he's old and he's been doing it for so long. And honestly, it's just muscle memory at this point. Like, it. So why are you giving him 60 throws a game, dude, for 3 straight games? It makes no sense. And I'm not going to, nitpick. I'm not a nitpick guy. I'm not like, oh, my goodness, you gave, this is the Knicks episode, right? You gave Julius Randle, 38 minutes and Obi Toppin 28. No, Obi Toppin needs 31. And no, I don't care, dude. I'm not nitpicky like that. But arguably your 2 best players, I mean, I know they fumbled, I know they're making drops. I know Michael Carter is not really pass protecting on 3rd down. Like, I'm with you on all that, but you got to run the ball more. You can't
100%.
You can't win games like this. And going into the Steelers game, they suck against the run. They're absolutely trash against the run. And on the other side of that, Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to intercept the ball. I don't care if it's Zach Wilson. I don't care if it's Joe Flacco. I don't care if it's Mike White. Minka Fitzpatrick is going to get an interception if you throw towards him.
He's a concussion protocol. Let's hope he doesn't play.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. That would actually be a huge. We'll get to that tomorrow when the injury report comes out.
I totally agree with you. The Jets are trying to run the ball. The biggest issue so far this season has been the defense giving up a touchdown the first drive every time, where the Jets are playing from behind immediately. Like you said, the Jets have had how many seconds with the lead? 22 seconds. So like it's really hard to establish a run game when you're playing from behind as much as the Jets have been doing this year, because that's what their blueprint is. They want to run the ball, and that's what their goal is. But unfortunately, the reality of the situation, the first 3 games, the defense has been trash and the offense has been playing catch up. And there's no excuse for that, but it's just the reality of the situation where the Jets defense needs to give this offense more opportunities to establish a run game, because AVT is ranked as the highest graded offensive guard in the run game. Max Mitchell's a dog in the run game so far as a rookie. Lincoln Tomlinson, as much of bad he's been in the pass protection so far, he's a beast in the run game. So we could run the football with Hall and Carter, but the problem is we're not giving him enough attempts. It's freaking me out. Breece Hall averages 5 yards per carry. Gets 7 carries in a game. Like, that's just ridiculous. So I'm right there with you, John. We got to give these two playmakers in Breece Hall and Michael Carter a chance to really run the football. There should be 13 carries each or something like that. We need to run the ball at least 30 times.
Facts. And like, if it wasn't for that George Fant hold, like Breece Hall would be really on top with average per carry. Like that was like another 25-yarder. He would really be up there. I think small things like that really make a huge difference in towards of the stats. And I don't know. Feed the kids, man. And I want to get this last question into you here, because I'm not going to ask you too much about this upcoming Steelers game. Obviously, we don't even know who our quarterback's going to be. We don't know who's going to be out there for the Steelers. But let me ask you this, like a little projection here. There's 5 weeks till the NFL trade deadline. We're 1-2. We're going into Pittsburgh. We got Miami at home. We're going to Green Bay. They are coming out of London, though, with no bye. I think that's a big deal. Then we're going to Denver. And we got the Pats at home. Like, forget the fact that Miami are hot. We have not won a division game in 2 years. All right. So we have both of those. Plus, we have arguably the 3 hardest away games in the league. Like 3 out of the top 5, right? Steelers, Green Bay, Denver. One, how do you think that's going to go? But 2, and I know he's your boy, right? I know Corey Davis is your guy. He shouted out
not
Jets
that much
Media.
of my boy.
I'm just saying, he shouted out Jets Media, right, on the YouTube, right? Check out Richie's there literally every day. The All 22 is one of my favorite episodes going on during the week. The stock market, stock up, stock down, is absolutely fire too. And he also watches the games with you guys. So check it all out there. But one, I want to know what you think is going to go on these next 5 weeks. But also, Corey Davis, man. If we trade Corey Davis within the next 5 weeks, we save 13 mil on this cap this year and 13 mil on the cap next year, which we're going to cut him anyway, in my opinion, before next year and save that 13 million. But if we cut him in 5 weeks, it might give more chances to the kids. I guess it just depends. So, one, how do you think these next 5 weeks are going to go? And I guess it just sort of follow up. Do you think Corey Davis is going to make it out with this team all the way to the year? Do you think it kind of makes sense to just sort of cut the bait? Because he kind of made – I know he made the big touchdown versus the Browns, but he's made a lot of mistakes, man. And Elijah Moore, I love Elijah Moore, but I don't love him as much as Alex does. And I'm telling you, when I rewatched that game, he was open. And when I noticed it a couple times when I was there, that's why I was like, I noted it in my phone. He was open a lot, dude.
Oh, yeah. Frustrating. I'm a big Elijah Moore guy, too. He's my
Let's
RJ
go.
Barrett.
Yeah.
8 and 9, baby. 8 and 9. It's all about 8 and 9.
8 and 9, you already know it. Listen, first of all, the 5-game, well, Corey Davis, I'll start with that. The only thing why I can see the Jets trading away Corey Davis, because there's interest around the league, according to Rich Tamini. But my biggest thing is, do you have confidence in Denzel Mims? Because Denzel Mims would replace Corey Davis in that position, because Corey Davis is our only player on this team that has, size and, 6'3". He plays that prototypical outside receiver role. So if Corey Davis gets traded, Denzel Mims will be activated and be in his role. It's not like they're going to just elevate the guys because this is a 4 wide receiver system. You need to have, the X, the Y, the Z. You need to have Berrios in there as the gadget guy, having Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and that prototypical outside receiver in Corey Davis. The one thing why I would not want to give up on Corey Davis, even though he does have a lot of issues and there's things he needs to clean up on with the boneheaded mistakes, is I just don't like the feeling of taking away playmakers from our young quarterback and Zach Wilson, because this whole season is about Zach Wilson and we haven't even seen it yet, which is why that Browns victory didn't even feel as good to me, because I'm like, wait, Zach didn't do that. Like, where's Zach at? We need Zach back. So like, it just worries me that if the Jets trade away Corey Davis and then all of a sudden we're banged up at wide receiver and then we don't have depth there, it kind of scares me, because Corey Davis is reliable for Zach Wilson. Early last year, he was not perfect. He had a lot of drops. I'm not defending him there, but my biggest gripe on that would be like taking playmakers away from your young quarterback when we're trying to see what Zach Wilson is. And when it comes to the 5 games heading into the bye, listen, it's going to be tough. And you said that we're getting a break with Green Bay going to London. Guess where we're not getting a break? The Steelers, they play Thursday Night Football, so they have 10 days to prepare. Guess who plays Thursday Night Football this week? The Dolphins.
Miami.
And we're versing the Dolphins the week after. So I don't know why the NFL hates us. They're
That's
giving
classic.
back-to-back weeks where they have 10 days to prepare. So whatever. But the Jets, you have a good – I know you don't want to talk about the Steelers too much, but that's a beatable team, man. If we can get 2-2 with Zach Wilson back.
You think?
I mean,
you think we can do it?
The reason why I feel like we can is because this defense has a chance to get back on track. I mean, this offense is so bad with the Steelers. And
if we lose to Mitch Trubisky, Rich, I'm gonna lose my mind.
This defense
shows. This is the whole thing, dude. If we give up yards to Mitch Trubisky, like that's it. That's my last straw.
As bad as his defense has been, the defense was the only bright spot in week 1 against Lamar Jackson in the Ravens. They were the only bright spot. The offense sucked. The special team sucked that game. Now the kicker is like the best kicker in the league, by the way.
And punter. and the punter, best punter in the league. Gets a kick and a first down.
Oh my God. But listen, I think the Steelers game is going to be interesting, but the schedule gets tough. The Dolphins, we have to win at least one of those 3 divisional games before the bye, because we have 3 division games before the bye, all at home. All of them are at home. So you got to beat one of those three teams, lose to the Bills. I get that. Beat the Dolphins or the Patriots, and steal one on the road against the Denver Broncos or the Green Bay Packers. We beat teams we're not supposed to before. We weren't supposed to beat the Browns. We weren't supposed to beat the Titans last year. We weren't supposed to beat the Bengals last year. The Jets had the ability to pull off upsets, and I feel like Zach Wilson can get the job done if he really just checks in mentally. I think that's really where it really comes down to. So best case scenario is obviously 4-5 by the bye week. But if we're 3-6, I'm not going to think it's the end of the world, because the schedule gets a little easier in the back end of the season. And if we can get 3-6 heading into the bye, that's not what you want to see on paper. I would prefer 4-5, but we'll see, man. We'll see.
One game at a time.
Richie's got me back on track and hyped for this weekend against the Steelers. Let's go.
I'm down with 2-2. I mean, listen, the Steelers are, I know it doesn't sound right, but the Steelers are literally the worst team against the run. And we have, in my opinion, one of the best running backs two of the best running backs in the league. So
top 5 duo.
Yeah. And that's what I've been asking for on all these Jets pods. It's that we just got to run the ball. And even if even when we get down by a touchdown, we could still run the ball, but yet we still just like to go pass happy. And it just makes no sense with Flacco. So, hey man, we're
going to go into Pittsburgh and beat Mike Tomlin. Flacco. Dude. I mean,
that's the one concern I have is Mike Tomlin. I mean, I think he's one of the most underrated coaches of all time. I mean, this guy doesn't have a losing record.
I legit think he was being sarcastic today. Did you hear him? He's talking about how good our safeties are. Like, I legit think he's being sarcastic. I don't know.
He's playing with us, man. He's playing with us.
It's playing games.
Like, I won't say the Patriots head coach, but it's like kind of like those Jedi mind trick games where he's like complimenting. He's like, "Oh God, I can't deal with this right now."
I'm telling my safeties are good. We know they suck. Leave me alone, dude.
Our coaching staff has a big test going up against the Steelers coaching staff, because coaching wins games, and it feels like the Jets have been outcoached a little bit this year.
For 3 straight games,
easy for them to get outcoached. Yeah, it'll be very easy.
3 straight games we've been outcoached. Yeah, I mean, the last comment here, DJ Reed was trying to tackle Nick Chubb. I know we're all yelling about Nick Chubb because it's easier to say, "Oh, you should have just fell down." Go back and watch it. DJ Reed tried really hard to tackle him, and he started beating himself up after that play because how mad he was that he didn't get the tackle. So
yeah,
I think we kind of lucked into that. I don't think
Shout out Miles Austin. He knew.
As Austin knew.
He knew.
Right.
He's like, that's our only chance.
Oh man. And on that note, Richie, thank you so much for coming on and talking Knicks and Jets with us. We know we kept you a little long, but please let our listeners know where they can find you.
Yeah, man. You guys can follow me over on Twitter, Instagram at NY Jets Media or NY Knicks Media. Same on YouTube. Just been posting daily content for the Jets. Go live for every game, do recaps, have call-in shows. And the Knicks, I'm really excited to get things kicking off on Knicks Media again. I think this is my 3rd year covering the Knicks on Knicks Media, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And you guys have a great podcast. Been listening to you guys all the time. I'll continue the great work. And let's hope that these two teams can make us happy this year, because I need that win against the Browns brought me in a feeling that like I never had before. Man. And it was just one win.
Don't change,
imagine
Richie.
If we win.
If you guys haven't seen the clip, go check out Richie's Twitter. He posted it recently of his reaction, which I'm telling you, like I told him off the air, because I do listen to his YouTube. I'm always in there, moderating a little bit, cleaning up some crazy comments that that he listens.
I appreciate that.
But after that game, obviously, as soon as the hoopla died down, and like I got back, behind my laptop to, just to see what's up and start consuming stuff. The first thing I did was like, I knew Richie was live for this. I got to see what Richie reacted. Turns out that NFL Films, they had a little segment on you as well. So it's classic, man. Definitely check out Richie's reaction videos. The All 22, like I said, one of my favorite episodes during the week. You're starting the mojo, stock up, stock down. So that stuff is cool too. Nice place to just yell about stuff. We were yelling about CJ Mosley a little bit today. That felt good because feel like I'm on an island here. Greg's been yelling about CJ Mosley for 3 years, but I feel like I've officially joined him, and I still feel like we're isolated here. So those are much cool episodes. Definitely check out.
Richie was definitely the first person I went to go see the reaction, because I know Richie's got some of the greatest reactions, man, to watching games. Like he legit just, I don't know, like he legit gave me like, that's how I felt watching the game too. I was like, yes, thank you. This is exactly what I needed to see right now.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy experience. The emotions are just raw, and they're good and they're
adrenaline
bad.
rushing, man.
When they're bad, they're bad. When they're good, they're good, man. Don't go back and watch my reaction to last game. I'm sitting there just Blackout drops back to pass.
And the all 22 will be fun for
tomorrow morning, baby.
It'll be great. But Richie, thank you for coming on, man. Really appreciate your work. Appreciate everything you do out there for Knicks, for Jets, for the Mets, for everything.
Kind of for the Mets. Everything. We don't really appreciate it. So
look,
we're not gonna lie.
We're Greg's not talking. I'm speaking for Greg more. So.
Jets Knicks gets more energy in the content anyway. So don't
But thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. You all know what to do. Please make sure to subscribe. We're on all audio listening platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, all these, you name it. We are there. Please make sure to give us that 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify. And also, please make sure to leave a review or comment if you listen to us on Apple. We're also partnered with Minute Media and Fanside, and you can find this podcast on the Daily Knicks and the Jet Press. And if you haven't figured out, we got a YouTube channel too. So make sure to go over there, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when a new episode drops. Just type in Knicks, Jets, etc. period. When we watch a video, hit the like button, leave a comment, add to the conversation. We want to know your thoughts and opinions. We also got another podcast over there, Winning Picks Weekly. John, video producer Greg, and our guy and co-host Chip Murphy. These guys go through every sport. If you like sports betting, putting money down the line, these guys got you covered. And then last and certainly not least, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We are there. Catch you later this week for another Jets episode. All right, everyone. We out.
Pitch strikes the judge, you cowards.